Hi and welcome along to AFTV. Back here with another video, of course, on this really sad occasion. In case you lived on the moon, you would know that yesterday the Queen of England sadly passed away. Aged 96, was the monarch who ruled this country for 70 years, 70 incredible years. And she sadly passed away yesterday. It sent shockwaves through the country because even though everybody in this country, we knew that she was very old, we knew that she was coming towards the end of her life. You know, when you start to get to that age, we know. It was still a shock because she's been ever present within our lives every single day for most of us since the day we were born. So it was a big shock. And obviously, there's been a lot of ramifications with her passing, and we have seen that spill out into sport. And we got the news earlier on that there was going to be no football taking place this weekend as a mark of respect for the Queen who had passed away. And the Premier League issued a statement. I'm going to give you the statement again. We did it earlier on, me and James, when we did the breaking news show. But this was a statement that the Premier League issued. It said, at a meeting this morning, the Premier League clubs paid tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II to honour her extraordinary life and contribution to the nation. And as a mark of respect, this weekend's Premier League match round will be postponed, including Monday's evening's game. Richard Masters, Premier League Chief Executive, said, "We and our clubs would like to pay tribute to Her Majesty, her long and unwavering service to this country. As our longest serving monarch, she's been an inspiration and leaves behind an incredible legacy following a life of dedication. This is a tremendously sad time for not just the nation, but also for millions of people around the world who admired her. And we join together with all of those in mourning her passing." And then they went on to say further updates regarding the Premier League fixtures during the period of mourning will be provided in due course. So that was it. It was official that there were no games, no Premier League games taking place this weekend. And of course, as an Arsenal fan, that means that our game on Sunday versus Everton has been cancelled. No date yet decided on when that fixture will take place. Now, it's sparked a big debate. I think there's nobody, I feel, feel that we should not be paying tribute to an extraordinary woman like the Queen. And especially if you're based here in the United Kingdom, you can't miss it. I mean, if you turn on your TV right now, every program is about the Queen. If you go onto Sky Sports, they've suspended all of their sort of football programs. It's all about the Queen. Every channel. Wall to wall discussing and talking about her life and her service to this country. And I think there's no doubt that we wanted to pay, and everybody in this country wants to pay a tribute to her. But there's been a lot of, I wouldn't call it controversy, but a lot of people saying that wouldn't it have been better to have played the games this weekend so that we could have paid tribute to the Queen and shown our respect to the Queen by playing those games? And I really wanted to get your guys' views on this because it is dividing opinion. There are people who are saying no games. You know what I mean? No games should be played. She's the Queen has passed away, and as a mark of respect, the Premier League are right. They are right not to play any games this weekend. But there are other people who are saying, well, why didn't we play the games this weekend and do something really tasteful and respectful and allow football fans to show their respect and tributes by going to the games and having a minute's silence or having bouquets and wreaths laid, maybe having the whole stadium rise up before the game and sing God Save the Queen. Why didn't we do that? That's what a lot of people are saying, and a lot of influential people. I've seen people like Piers Morgan tweeting it as well, and many other people. You know what I mean? That I class as probably royalists that are saying we could have done it in this way. And then also, I was looking at it earlier, and you look at it, and football. There's going to be no games this weekend, and when I say that, I mean as well as the Premier League. There's no games in the Championship, in the EFL. There's not even any grassroots football. Even my son's football games, they've all been cancelled. There are no games anywhere across the UK, even at grassroots level, this weekend. AFTV FC, we play in the Barnet League. Even that game's been cancelled. But there are some other sports that are actually going to be playing. So cricket. There's a test match going on in cricket at the moment. They cancelled today, but they're going to be resuming playing tomorrow. The test match against South Africa, that's going to resume on Saturday. The women's IT20 match between England and India is still going to go ahead. Golf's PGA Championship, which they cancelled that today. They halted it on Thursday. That is going to resume on Saturday as well. British horse racing, which, if you're a follower of the royal family, you will know that was the Queen's favourite sport. The Queen's favourite sport was horse racing. I remember going to Ascot and being very, very lucky to be able to see the Queen. Right, she was just 10 yards in front of me. I was like, wow, that's the Queen. She was a lot smaller than I thought she was going to be. And that was at Ascot, and that was those were her favourite events. They called it Royal Ascot. These were royal events, really what the Queen really loved. Horse racing is resuming on Sunday. They will be resuming it. Rugby is going to be played. They're going to be playing the Rugby Union Premiership. They're going to be playing, and that's going to be starting. So you ask the question, then why did we halt football? Could we have not done it in a different way, or was it the right decision by the Premier League? And we also have to accept the dilemma that the Premier League face, right? Premier League's always accused of being greedy. Premier League guys are only after money. Footballers only after money. If they did go ahead with this, that there'd be a lot of people accusing them and say, "Oh, see, look, you're not even paying respect, to the Queen of the country. You're just greedy. You just want to play football. You just want to make money." So they do have to capture the mood of the country. But was it right? Have they made the right decision? It's a difficult decision, but have they made the right decision? And that's what I really want to ask you guys. This guy, Mal UK, says, I think it's stupid. Only football is cancelled, and the fixtures are already tight because of the World Cup. Now, they are very tight because of the World Cup, but that shouldn't really... I don't think that's going to be the reason that's going to come into it, because the thing about it is that if you're paying true respects to the Queen, fixtures being congested shouldn't really come into it. You're either paying respect or you're not. That's how I view it. So the fixtures are going to be congested. We're going to have to think about that at another time and work out a solution. But right now, we have so much respect for this lady that we are cancelling the game. So I don't think the congested fixture list should come into it. I think what should come into it is what is the right thing to do. I just feel that you've got thousands upon thousands of football fans who are going to be stuck at home this weekend watching wall-to-wall stuff about the Queen. Most of it really, really sad. Who could have went to a football game and had a celebration of the Queen. And I was just thinking the whole of the Emirates Stadium singing "God Save the Queen" before the game, and followed by a minute silence, black armbands, her pictures up on the big screen. I think that would have been lovely. Is it just me, or are we doing it in the right way by just cancelling everything? I want to get your guys' opinion on it. Name says, I think the last 2 years have shown shutting society often can make people feel worse. And in some respects, if the players were okay with playing, they would have been doing the country a favour. Now, one of my friends called me earlier, and that's what he was saying. He was going that, it is quite depressing news. It's really sad news. the Queen passing, anybody passing. It's sad news. We're going to get wall-to-wall coverage of it over the weekend. Wouldn't it be nice to have had a breakaway with football being played? But then you could also, this is where, as I'm saying, I want to get people's opinions, because this is the other side of it, right? Is that you can also look on it and say, well, football is such a huge sport in this country, our national sport, the number one sport, that by playing games, would it take away from what's happening with the Queen, with the respect that we're looking to show the Queen? Would it have taken away from that? So there's also that side of the argument, and that's really the dilemma for the people who have to make the decision. Here you can see this guy, a very strong message from him. Descript, he says, do you mean for your Queen that's just died is too much for you guys? It's too much for you guys. He said, don't you guys have a life aside of football? That's the other side of the argument. So there you have it there from Descript. He's saying that, listen, what, just for one weekend we can't do without games? Because, the Queen has died, pay respect. So, that's the other side of the argument. And this is why we're having this debate. Anton C says, I think the Queen would have wanted everyone to have got on with it. That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I mean, we don't know for sure, but that's a fair point. It's interesting, and I really, really would like to get your guys' opinion on it. Because I don't think there is any easy answer to this one, and there are two sides to the argument. The Peacock Rhino says, on the funeral weekend, the league should be suspended, but not this weekend. That's way over the top. Now, you know what? The interesting thing is there's a lot of talk that next weekend's games could be cancelled as well. And that's because the dilemma of next week now is the fact that, it's going to be the funeral. And funerals of this magnitude, the Queen of England, I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than that, is going to take a lot of resources. You're going to need lots and lots and lots of police to police that. So, they're going to have to pull on police from all over the country to come to London to police that funeral. Now, does that, how do those police then, on top of that, police loads and loads of high-profile football games in the Premier League and beyond? That's a dilemma. And then also the fact that, a lot of the film crews and that they use for football, which is outsourced, a lot of them might be working on the filming of that funeral. And then on top of that, like that guy just said, is it right to then play a game when the funeral is that close? Would it have been better to have played this week and cancelled the games for next weekend? So, it's a real dilemma. It's a real dilemma. So, it's, and let's keep these comments serious, because I see a couple of stupid ones, and listen, it's really not the time for that. And if that's what you're coming here with, don't come, right? This is a serious subject, serious debate that we're having on this, and I really want to get your opinions on it. So please keep these messages sensible. Silent Assassin says, all condolences to the Queen, but I don't see why we can't get black armbands on and pay our respects before, during, and after the game. It would have to be something more than black armbands for me. I mean, she is such a huge figure of this country. That it would have to be more than black armbands. But I think the whole stadium singing "God Save the Queen," I think that would be an amazing thing. And I mean, and remember, football is a worldwide. We know football is worldwide. It goes all around the world. So, you want to pay the right tribute, but how impactful and how powerful would that be to see every stadium in the Premier League and in the Championship and League 1, 2, every stadium with everybody stood up singing God Save the Queen. That's a huge tribute. That would be unbelievable. And that would be seen around the world. Dave Jordan says, hi, Rob. Shout out to you guys on the watch along. Could see some were devastated by the big news. Arteta subbing on Saka and Jesus clearly upset them. Yeah, they were going on about that. But you're right. When we got that news on the watch along, we was like, whew. We were stunned right at the start of the watch along. We was like, we couldn't believe it. Honestly, even though we all sort of had an inkling that news could be coming because we could see the vibes of the day and we heard little things coming out. But once, as I said, you grow up with the Queen. Every pound note has got the Queen's head on it. Every currency in this country, when you send a stamp, it's got the Queen on it. You know what I mean? Everything, our whole life has been the Queen since we've been here. And even earlier on, I heard some people on TV. I think it was Prince Charles. Well, it's not Prince Charles no more. King Charles, and even that's weird to say. He was coming to Buckingham Palace, and they were saying "God save the King," and I was like, "That don't sound right. It's God save the Queen," because that's what we're used to. So yeah, I mean, it's a big change. D3M1 says, respectfully, the show must go on and pay respect at the matches. There are people that really look forward to see their team every week because it gives them peace and joy. And it is, there is a balance. I think somebody just said it earlier in a point that, it's a bit like lockdown, wasn't it? There was like, you were at home every single day and you turned on your TV and all you heard was, today X amount of people died. And X amount of people have been infected with COVID. And he was just like, sometimes I had to say to my kids, turn that off, man. I don't want to hear that no more. You know what I mean? It was very, very depressing. So sometimes to get out and have that release, and and at that time we didn't have that release of football. Sometimes it didn't make it worse for us personally if we're into football, and not watching Arsenal for that period. I remember when the lockdown first started and there was no Arsenal games. It was strange. Let's get this guy here. Salah says, I'm not even European, but not playing is a good gesture, whether she would want it or not. She gave you 70 years. Postponing the games is a good gesture, in my opinion. And that's fair enough. And there's a lot of people who feel that way. So there are a lot of people who feel that way. So James Misson says, we don't cancel matches when public figures pass away. So why is the monarchy any different? Come on, James, man. The monarchy, the Queen of England, I just described it. She is the head of this country. Whether you're into the royal family or you're not into the royal family, you know who the Queen is. You know the significance of the Queen. You know that she was, the monarchy for 70 years. A mark of respect has to be shown to her for the service that she's given. Whether you like her or the royal family or not, she deserves the respect. So it's not the same as other public, certain other public figures passing away. I think this is huge. So we get onto this one. Again, Adam 12, he says, 96-year-old woman who worked until 2 days before her death. It shows respect by stopping football for a woman who gave her life to Britain. So, some people feel very strongly on it. And this is why it's good to get varying opinions because, it's people feel different ways. I think, this is not in dispute that, we should be paying tribute to her. It's how should we have done it? It was cancelling football the right thing to do. Elena says, I think that it would have been a lovely tribute, but I know when the playing starts up again, whatever we come up with will be beautiful. Rest in peace, Queen Liz. Lovely message. That definitely, it would be a great tribute whenever we do go back. And that's the other question. When do we go back? Do we play that game on Thursday night against PSV? That's another one, What happens with that game? At the moment, we don't know. But what happens with that one? Um, let's get this guy here. Spacebar. He says, or she says, it's a seismic shock through the country with a lot of change happening in such a short space of time. I do think it's the right decision, and that games are postponed. We have lost an icon. All right, so that's again. Evgeny, I hope I pronounced that right. He says, I agree, Robbie, that cancelling the games for the weekend would only be right. So that's another person, So, yeah, that's another person. Anthony says, Robbie, we were born and raised in this country of such an age. We know the drill. Show some respect. So that's another person who says, Ammo says, if football's postponed, everything should have been. That's that's a bit of the dilemma here now, because I'm saying rugby's going ahead. They're playing rugby from tomorrow. The rugby premiership is being played tomorrow, and they could have cancelled that. Cricket resumes tomorrow. Horse racing, as I said, the Queen's sport resumes on Sunday. So that's the other thing. Why is it football that's had to cancel the whole weekend? That's what a lot of people are asking that question. So that's why we're asking it. Indra Vidya says the most shocking thing about this event, why now become such a big issue? This is a tradition for a long time, and I don't remember a royal funeral ever being a problem. Well, this is different to other royal funerals. This is the ultimate royal funeral because the Queen is the ultimate royal. You know. So yeah, this is why it's a big deal. Let's get this guy Vernon Butler. He says, "Hi Robbie, I grew up with a grown up 10 family when he was a baby in." I'm sorry, I'm a little bit confused by the message, but basically he's saying we're going to miss the Queen. The game shouldn't have been postponed, says One Sniff, Two Sniff. Some people from other countries, including myself, paid €500 to go to the game. Could have paid her a tribute before the game. He's very angry. There is that as well. There's a lot of people who would have travelled over to this game. There's people in the UK who would have booked hotels, made arrangements to come to the game, and now that's lost because the game's cancelled. But it is an unprecedented circumstance. So that is why, it's not been cancelled for any bad reason. It's unprecedented. So, the long on JJ says, based on the tributes after the September 11th attacks in the US, I think the EPL could have put together some great moments. Neil Jones says, this is a stupid debate. So many people with so many different opinions. Who knows what is right or what is wrong? Well, it's not a stupid debate then, is it, Neil? Because you don't know. And, a decision needed to be made and a very difficult decision. But there are a lot of people, a lot of influential people. As I said, a lot of people who somebody like Piers Morgan, I class as a royalist. He loves the royal family. Right, if you only have to look at a lot of his tweets about various things to do with the royal family, he loves the royal family, but he tweeted out that he felt games should have went ahead and that tribute should have been paid at the game with fans singing the national anthem, etc. So it does divide opinion. It really does divide opinion. I get that, but I don't think it's a stupid debate. I think it's a debate. You're saying yourself, there doesn't seem to be a right or a wrong. That is what you call it, the perfect debate. So that's why we're talking about it. Can't get this one, but VJ says it's all about stopping the mass gathering when the situation is dire. Better safe than sorry. It's always is, and he says rest in peace to the Queen. Blue Moon FC says football wasn't cancelled when the Queen's father, George V, died. it would have been a nice to have celebrated her life. And then that's the other argument. There's mourning and there's celebrating. So, celebrating her life might have been very appropriate. But, Fancy Pants says, if rugby and horseback riding has not been cancelled, then why should football be cancelled? If you are going to cancel stuff, then everything should have been cancelled. As simple as that. That's what a lot of people are arguing. Adam 12 said the weekend should be more about the Queen and her 70 years of dedication. Well, that's what it's going to be about. Because, despite whatever we're saying, there will be no football this weekend. Decision has been made. And there will be no football. Simple as that. There will be no football. So, yeah, there will be no football. Let's get here. Stephen, he says, it is a fact that only football is being cancelled. That is confusing. It is the fact that only football is being cancelled that is confusing. It'll be 2 weekends of games that are cancelled and a missed tribute at games. A missed tribute, the word that he's using there, missed tribute, the fact that we could have done a tribute at games. Football's not the only thing cancelled, by the way. I know that boxing, there's supposed to be a massive women's boxing fight on tomorrow night. Clarissa Shields and Savannah Marshall. First ever all-female bill. Huge fight here in the UK. I think it was sold out. That's been cancelled. So it's not only football. But it is interesting that the rugby and the cricket and all of those things are still going ahead. It is interesting. And I can see why a lot of people, Isaac says Mandela was seen as royalty, but nothing was stopped. I get that it's the wrong thing to do. I just think it should have been handled different. Well, nothing was stopped where? What, in England? Because even though Mandela, as important as he was, he's from South Africa. So I don't know what they did at the time in South Africa when he died. Did they have days of mourning? I'm not sure. But certainly if he would have been in the UK, I'm sure they would have done something similar. Like, this is what they're doing with the Queen. The Queen is the head of state here. She's ruled for 70 years. It's huge. Bobby WRTM says, I think the 10 days of mourning is a very outdated rules. In globalization, the world like this, that was way too long for mourning things. Now, Bobby, I think as well, let's just get the facts right on this one. The Premier League were not told to cancel the games. They went to the government and they spoke to the ministers there and they asked them, what do we do? And what they were told was, listen, we leave it up to each sporting body, but we want you guys to look at the mood of the public when you're making your decision. That is what they were told. They were not forced to cancel the games this weekend. The decision has been made by the Premier League to cancel the games. So, it's not like they've been forced into this decision. GXD says, for the Queen, both weeks off is deserved. We might miss football, but this must be done. When the Premier League resumes, pay tributes then. I heard somebody saying this earlier. I wonder if the FA were worried about Liverpool fans and that they might boo. And we know that with Liverpool fans, there's been, a little bit of a bad relationship with the royal family. But I don't think that would happen. I really don't think that would have happened with Liverpool fans. I really don't. Everybody knows the mood right now. Everybody knows, that's not the, the one thing about I always say about the Queen is that, whatever people thought about the royal family, she was always one that I think people had respect for. So I don't think that would have happened at all. User CTID says at 96 years, we should be celebrating the life well lived and 70 years of service to her country, not mourning. So should the celebration have been by having a game, and or should the celebration be, because at the moment it certainly seems like, when I turn in on the TV and the radio, there's not a lot of celebration at the moment. It is most definitely mourning. At the moment there is not a lot of celebration. So um Gabriel says it would be special to dedicate the Arsenal game at the Emirates to the Queen, as she's also an Arsenal fan. Remember, I did that video outside Buckingham Palace where I said she was an Arsenal fan. It was rumoured that she was an Arsenal fan. Remember, the only football team ever invited to Buckingham Palace to meet the Queen was Arsenal. You can see those famous pictures where she met Arsene Wenger, Cesc Fabregas, all these guys. The Queen of England met Arsenal, and the reason why she met the team and invited the team to Buckingham Palace was she was supposed to have opened the Emirates, but unfortunately, she got sick, or she had an injury to her hip. I can't remember exactly, but she was not able to attend the opening. So because she was, upset that and there you go when we talk about her service, because she was unable to attend, she then invited the full Arsenal team and the manager to Buckingham Palace for tea. So fantastic. And that's why Arsenal, the only team ever to be invited to Buckingham Palace to meet the Queen. Incredible. Hence, she's an Arsenal fan. Shref says, would have been best if tributes were paid by all fans across all sports at all stadiums this weekend. And remember her. And no games next weekend for the funeral. Yeah, and kind of makes sense to me, but listen, they've decided to go a different way. So yeah, it's this, as I said, so many different ways of it. Everton says, I think this debate is sort of stupid. We should just roll with the punches. It is what it is at the end of the day, and I highly doubt the decision will change. The decision's not going to change, Everton. And I know that, right? It's just that, it has divided opinion. And once again, let's just to make this clear to everybody, it's not divided opinion in a negative way that people are like, well, why are we doing this? We shouldn't be. We should just be playing football. It's not that. It's divided it in that some people are saying a better tribute would have been a celebration of her life with football fans, showing their love for the Queen. You know what I mean? Singing God Save the Queen before the game started, the national anthem, minute silence, black armbands, wreaths laid, that sort of thing, would have been a nice, more fitting tribute than just being at home. That is what a lot of people are saying. So, let's get some more in here. Again, Danny says, Robbie, why do we have to pay respect while being depressed? Why can't we pay our respects while watching the games? Yeah, and again, that's the other side of the argument, you know what I mean? Because earlier on, my daughter said to me, "Our dad is depressing." Just I respect the Queen and that, and it's really sad that she's passed away. But to just be watching wall to wall coverage of it all day long, it's starting to get a bit depressing now. I'm going to have to go and watch something else. That's what she said. And I'm sure there's a lot of other people like that. And you do sometimes like. Listen, I remember when my dad passed away, and my dad, I was lucky that he lived to 93. And I was really, really sad, but it quickly turned for me from sadness into a celebration of his life, because I was like, he lived a long, good life. And I want to celebrate it now. I want to celebrate my dad's life because he's lived a long, good life. And I think it's going to be the same with the Queen in that you first of all, you have the shock that we all had yesterday, and I guess a lot of people still having today. But then after that, I really do think people are going to want to celebrate her life. And already we're seeing it when I'll be watching some of the programs that I'm watching today. They're showing some of the amazing things that she did. So having a full stadium with everybody stood up singing. I'm saying it again. I know I'm repeating myself. Would have been a lovely touch, I feel. But anyway, Cameron says, I don't think that 10 days of mourning is outdated. Something of this magnitude happens once a century. It happens to fall at a bad time. If this happens in June, it wouldn't have been much outrage. I don't think there's outrage, Cameron. Let's just say I don't see outrage. I just see people saying, could we have not played the games and celebrated it that way? Alexander B says they should cancel games that fall on the day of the funeral. This is entirely unnecessary. Imagine packed stadiums all chanting "God Save the Queen." You can't have games, surely. I'm not sure of the day of the funeral. Is it is the day of the funeral on the Sunday or the Monday? If it's on the Sunday, you can't play a game on. I mean, you couldn't. You couldn't. You couldn't play a game on the day when she's being buried. I think that would be. Ooh, that wouldn't be right to me. But let's see. Right, I'm going to do a couple more comments. Some people are saying this on the Monday the 19th. So if it's on Monday the 19th, fine. But if it's on, you couldn't do it on the Sunday. No chance. Because I think that would be, I think that would be terrible if we did that. So, right. Samantha Jordan says, it's just a game. Seeing some of the comments, she wouldn't be respected but booed. As a veteran, I find it heartbreaking to see some of the disrespect, especially for the sake of a game. I have to say, Samantha, I've seen some of those comments, and as I said to people earlier, if you come in with those comments, don't come on. She deserves our respect. 70 years of service. As I said, whether you're a royalist or not, 70 years of service to her country. It is just only respect, simple as that. And it, like that guy said earlier, this is something of a huge magnitude that has happened. And we have to pay a right and proper respect. And Alexander B says they should cancel the games that fall on the day of the funeral. I just did that one. Sorry, my apologies. Well, listen, this debate is going to go on and on and on, but I think one thing we are all agreed upon is that, we have to, pay respects to the Queen for what she has done for this country. For all of her service, we definitely got to pay respect to her. And the way in which the Premier League have decided to do it is by cancelling all the games this weekend. Let me get this one last comment in. Wayne Sages says, even if the funeral is on a Monday, wouldn't it be a logistical nightmare for the public transport system and the police force over the weekend due to the travel for the funeral as well as the football matches? And that is going to be that's going to be a problem and an issue. And as I said, we're not even 100% sure that the games next week will be on. So that is something that we're going to have to wait and see. That's going to be the next thing. And there's no news yet on what's going to happen on the game on Thursday. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But listen, the one thing we know for sure is that there's going to be no games this weekend. Once again, just to have a quick look at that statement from the Premier League, it says that a meeting this morning, the Premier League clubs paid tribute to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II to honour her extraordinary life and contribution to the nation. And as a mark of respect, this weekend's Premier League match round will be postponed, including Monday evening's game. There'll be no games this weekend in the Premier League. We wait to see what happens with the other games. Thanks for watching here on AFTV, and rest in peace to the Queen.